Hello everyone, DA here. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you are doing amazing. So DE recently, about a few hours ago or so, they just announced a free Ash Prime for anyone who watches the Tenno Live event on the 7th of July, which is, I think, about 2 days from now. Now, the event is going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and all you have to do is to link your Warframe account to Twitch. I'm sure everybody has a Twitch account by now, and just watch it for about 30 minutes straight. No more than 30 minutes and you'll be good to go. Now, of course, if you want to watch more than 30 minutes, feel free to do so. Now, this is very important because Ash Prime is currently a vaulted item. And if you're going to be one of those people who maybe you're just joining the game for the first time, few days in, you join the game because of the sacrifice quest, you won't be able to get Ash Prime. And this is basically your way to bypass all those mastery requirements for Ash Prime. And you won't even have to spend lots of platinum building him as well, because the item will be automatically dropped in your inventory. Now, Ash is one of the best, easy to use, easy to pick up Warframes out there. If you're a new player, you will easily understand Ash. Ash is not like Limbo that you basically need a whole college degree to get into. Now, the Prime variant comes with 150 base armor, 150 health, 125 shields, 100 energy, and it also comes with 3 polarities and I believe a V polarity on the aura slot. So that itself is way better than what some of you probably are using right now. And even if you're not a fan of Ash, it wouldn't hurt to just get that free thing. It's a free item. Just go in there, do all those things, and you'll be able to get it. Now, Ash, in my opinion, is better than Excalibur, and would have loved it if it was Ash or Rhino that was included in the sacrifice quest as the Umbra frame. Now, I know that there are lots of people who love Excalibur a lot, but I seem to not have a big use for Excalibur after certain levels or within certain mission types within the game. And I'm sure a lot of people will agree with that as well. And since we're talking about Ash and everything Ash Prime related, I think it would be a nice thing to go down memory lane with you guys when it comes to our experiences and what we've been through in Warframe when it comes to Ash. Now, this is going to be how I got my Ash Prime, because for some of you guys right now, you don't know the struggle of what it was to know that you won't be able to get this item until a particular rotation and what was known back then as endless survival farming. Now, I'm not talking about running for fun either. I'm talking about the grind for rotation C in the void, and that was the craziest thing ever. Till today, I still hate anything longer than an hour because that thing just gave me a bad memory. We didn't have relics back then, and you guys also know that we didn't have those things. You experienced it with us. And all you need at that point in time is one T3 void key, and you form an entire set of a prime gear. Some people go for an hour, some people go for 4 hours. I've seen some guy who said he went for 8 hours straight, and that is crazy. Of course, I never went to that extent. Farming for Ash back then was the first time I ever did a long run. Ash Prime was out and I needed the systems. I already got everything, but that system was almost impossible to get. So I started asking a lot of people, hey, you know what? I have one void key. Is anybody in here who is also looking for Ash Prime system? I'm looking for a void key share, and that was a big thing right there. And I must say, the community is way nicer now than what it was back then. The void key share back then is like visiting a poker game or somewhere at the back of an alley. You have to show that you have the keys, but then you even have people who will farm with your own keys and then bounce when it is time to use their own keys, and that was one of the craziest thing ever. People used to get reported for ditching on others a lot within the game. And that is probably one of the main reasons why we have the relic system, even though I'm not a huge fan of the relic system. But I think that's one of the main reasons for that. A lot of people abuse the void key system a lot, but it was very lucrative back then because when it comes to farming and when it comes to getting rich within the game, all you have to do is to turn one single key into several thousands worth of platinum, and that was a great thing to have back then. But anyways, some guy came up to me and said, hey, you know what? Hey, are you still looking to farm Ash Prime? Are you still looking for Ash key share? And I was like, yeah, I'm still looking for one. So he invited me and the grind began. Man, it was the most fun I ever had, though I hated long survival runs after a while. As an Excalibur main back then, I know it sounds crazy, but as an Excalibur main back then, you feel like a god. People make you feel needed because everybody needs you. If you're using Javelin on Draco, that is one of the best thing ever. It will be one of the craziest thing, even if you're using Radio Blind on defensive missions. it was like one of the biggest things. You're using the poster boy for Warframe. And one of the crazy thing back then is that we had to find a camping spot. And if anyone remembered, there's this particular sewer hole spot on one of those void missions, and that was like the best spot to camp in. There was nobody coming in from the back. There's only one entrance. We had myself as Excalibur, then we had a Trinity, we had the Vauban, and I think we also had another Trinity. And it was like fighting a real battle because it was really tough for me. Back then, I had like maybe a level 5 scanner and something else, and it was just one of the worst gears ever. I spent an entire day, I even skipped class that day just to farm Ash Prime, and it was crazy. And my God, you guys won't believe if I told you guys that nothing dropped after 6 hours of T3 survival grind. It was the most humiliating thing ever, because at the end of that, a lot of us even died at the end of that run, and that was crazy. So after a while, I just messaged the other guy and said, you know what? I'm done with this and I'm just gonna call it quits, go to the chat and just buy it from someone. But here's also the problem about chat back then. People can also take your money and run within the trade chat as well, because back then we had this system where you can put in money and the person can take your money and not give you the item and just quit and exit out of the trade so they can walk away with your plats. And that was also a crazy thing too back then. But anyways, it convinced me to do one more run, and on that final run we got the Ash system on that last run, and that was incredible. Man, it felt so good. That feeling of grinding for several hours only to finally get what you want. That is the feeling of pride and accomplishment. So if anybody has the email to EA, you should send them the story, because that is what you can call pride and accomplishment. Grind for several hours, get the item, you don't even have to buy it. Now, I held on to that Ash Prime for almost a whole year. Now I don't play Ash as much because of course, you know, I have Chroma and I have Harrow. But that was one of the best feelings ever back then. Now, I will say that things began to get boring for a while, because playing Ash is both a blessing and a curse in Warframe. People will ask you for Ash, but I always hated it when I see another Ash in my squad. I'm looking at him like, bro, only one of us can be in here, bro. Only one of us can be an Ash. But yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I really didn't say that. But it makes you feel like the other Ash will be stealing your thunder, because of course anybody who plays Ash know it is a killing game. And you know, you're always looking at the other person. That I knew no one was getting kills in this mission. If you have 2-3 Ash players in there, it's going to be a messy thing. Now, if you also have Mesa or Saren in there, you know what? That was the era of the press 4 to win. And that was the biggest thing back then. Everybody had the press 4 to win, so everybody was getting kills. Maybe except Trinity. Trinity wasn't getting any kills. But every time I see an Ash Prime in a match, it always reminds me of that frame, that moment, that 6-hour long grind in 2 additional hours just to get those Prime parts. And I still remember the name of that guy that stole all my T3 keys and bounced and never came back. But if you have any cool stories, any cool crazy stories about your weird Warframe experience, feel free to send it to me in my Discord. If I like it, I will add it to the end of my next video. But with that said, TennoCon is few days, and just make sure that you have your account linked to Twitch and tune into that Tenno Live event just for 30 minutes. And even if you already have Ash Prime, you can still use this one for a different build with a different format setup. But let me know what you guys think about this video. Thanks for the love and the support. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel for more Warframe. And as always, it is DS signing out. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Additional life support has arrived.